Hi everybody, Linda here from Northampton Wools, and today this little video is going to talk to you about our Smooth as Silk scarf and what kind of changes we've decided to make to this pattern. First of all, this is done with a new yarn in the store this fall called Variations, and it's coming to us from Bryson. And the reason it's called Variations is because it's a tonal yarn. You can see in the skein that the way it's dyed makes it go from dark to light. This really adds some depth to the colors, and we're going to show you how that knits up. The scarf itself is really simple to do. It's basically garter stitch, and there's a slip stitch at the end of the row on one side. And the way you do that slip stitch is to knit to the end. So here's the last of the knit stitches, and then the last two stitches are slipped with the yarn in front. The abbreviation for that is always WYIF, and it means that you move the yarn to the front of the work and then you slip the last two stitches as if you were going to purl them. I then turn around and begin the next knit row by knitting that very first stitch, even though your yarn is coming from the third stitch. You simply knit it, and what that does is pull those two stitches around the edge of your knitting. So you have a very nice knit stitch on this side and on this side. And again, the pattern is written so that you do that slip stitch only on one edge. The other side is simply knit. I've made the whole scarf like that, and to tell you the truth, I was not happy, and I didn't understand why this particular designer only put that slip stitch on one edge. After talking about it with Kate, she went ahead and made her scarf and did the slip stitch on both edges. So both rows were knit to the last two stitches, bring the yarn to the front, slip two, turn around, knit to the last two stitches, bring the yarn to the front, slip two, turn around. We're going to make that notation on the pattern so that you will remember how to do that. That ends up giving you a very nice finished edge. And this is actually an edging that you can do to any scarf that you're knitting. Knit to the last two stitches or work in pattern to the last two stitches, bring your yarn to the front, slip two purlwise, turn around and begin your next row. So right now I want to show you how to change the pattern from slipping the stitches just at the end of one row to slipping them at both ends. The start of the pattern is to cast on 3 stitches with a normal long tail cast on, and to knit into the front and back of the first stitch and then knit 2. You then want to mark which side is your right side and which side is your wrong side. And I'm not gonna do that right now because I didn't bring a marker with me, but we'll leave that to later on. The next row is knit, and what I'm going to do is knit 2, bring the yarn to the front and slip the last 2 stitches. I'm going to turn around and on the wrong side knit 2, bring the yarn to the front and slip the last 2 stitches. Row 4 begins an increase. The row starts with a knit 2, and then it says to knit into the front and back. But if I do that in this stitch, I won't have enough stitches to slip the 2 at the end of the row. And so instead of doing a knit in front and back increase, I'm going to do a twisted loop. Just make a twist, put it on the needle and tighten it up. That's the increase. And now I bring the yarn to the front and slip the last 2 stitches. Row 5 is knit to the last 2 stitches. That's the increase. Bring the yarn to the front and slip 2. And then on row 6, it's a knit row. But again, we're going to knit to the last 2 stitches. Bring the yarn to the front and slip 2. And Kate just very nicely brought me a marker, so I'm going to put that on this side because row 7 is a wrong side row. And I'm going to start with a knit 1. And the pattern tells me to knit into the front and back of the next stitch, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep those 2 stitches on the edges, always either knit or slipped. So I'm going to knit the first 2, and then again, instead of knitting into the front and back, I'm going to throw on a twisted loop. Twist it and tighten it up. And then I'm going to knit 1 more, which brings me to the last 2 stitches. Bring the yarn to the front and slip those 2. And then row 8 is a right side row. Marker's not facing me. I knit to the last 2 stitches. Bring the yarn to the front and slip 2. And you're going to continue in that manner. Every time the pattern tells you to knit 1 and then knit into the front and back, instead you will knit 2, throw on a twisted loop, and then knit to the last 2 stitches and slip the last 2. We will make that notation on the pattern so that you'll be able to do it and remember it. And also there'll be a QR code so that will take you right to this video so you can be reminded of it too. All right, we're here to show you how to put the smoothest silk scarf on. I saw this demonstrated a while ago, forgot about it, and then was reminded the other day, and that's why we ended up making this scarf. Once the scarf is completed, you fold the piece in half, and I'm actually going to fold it in half and fold it in half so that it's not as wide. And then going to put it around Kate with the loop on one side and the ends on the other. One of these loops is going to go over and under, one of these ends rather, and be held out like that. You don't have to hold it out, but Kate's doing her part. The other one is going to come in the opposite direction. This side went over, and so this piece is going to go under and then over, so that we have the loop and both ends through like that. This can be as tight or as loose as you want it to be, but it ends up making a very attractive scarf to wear. You can wear it straight down like that. You can push it to the side a little bit if you want that knot on the side, or even like that. So we're going to have this video up on YouTube, and on the pattern when you buy the kit, there will be a QR code that will take you right to the directions for this so that you will be reminded. This isn't the only scarf you can do this tie with. You can do it with any scarf, but just remember that it is a loop and you go over and under and then under and over. Have fun.